Welcome to the channel, everybody. We've got quite the mess going on over here. We're getting ready to go kayaking today. What an interesting start. I pull in, put a little sunscreen on. Second, I start getting the kayak ready. The CO pulls in, stops, checks you. Very nice people. Not all COs are bad, so if you see them, don't be intimidated or anything. They just want to check your license and make sure you're safe, life jackets, etc. We're good to go. So he's gonna let us go fishing today. No tickets, no nothing, so I'm proud of myself. But yeah, rigging up now. We're gonna head over to the lake. It's a little bit of a walk through this I don't know, little grassy meadow section. I don't know what you want to call it, but like I said, the kayak is rigged up and ready. Got some tackle over there. Hopefully the weeds aren't too bad. When I left this morning, it was like 55 degrees. We've had a little bit of a cold spell come through, which is nice. Fall is almost here, so the fall bite should be picking up. The early August, late July bite of 95 degree water temps, not really, but it's probably 88, 89. It's high. So hopefully we're done with that. The weeds have died down, the fishing should be better, and hopefully we catch some fish today. I'm thinking they'll bite, but there's always that chance as well that maybe the water temperature change has been too drastic, so we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, let's get over to the lake and have some fun. Okay, got the paddle, got the boat in. We are rigged up and ready to go. Let's catch some fish today. I feel like a turtle with this giant bag on. I carry way too much stuff. We got to cut her back some. Got a new camera box. It's a little bit bigger than my old one, but even though the room's going to be a little less spacious in this boat, I think it's going to be really important. Oh, it feels good to be back on the water. It's been a week or so. I've been really busy. My main boat, my John boat, had a gas tank issue, so I had to order a new gas tank, and so I've been out without that for a few days. Finally able to get the kayak back out. We're gonna make the most of it right now because it is supposed to get very windy by noon. So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are on the lake now. We are doing some kayak fishing. We're gonna pull up kind of just to our favorite spots on this lake. We're gonna hit those 4 or 5 spots and then probably head out. Hopefully get about 2 to 3 hours of fishing in before we gotta call it. We'll see what happens. The weatherman could be wrong, but like I said a few seconds ago, it is supposed to get extremely windy by noon, 1 o'clock at the latest. So you can already tell that from when I got here to now, it's probably picked up 1 or 2 mile an hour. It's supposed to be like 5, 6 mile an hour this morning, and then work its way up to like 14 by midday. And 14 on a small lake in a kayak, it can definitely have its challenges. So with the cold temperatures, some heavy winds, we don't know what to expect today. So we're gonna fish and hopefully have some fun and just see what happens. So starting with a chatterbait, I believe, because I have it tied on already from the last time I was here. And then if that doesn't work, we'll switch over to a few other things. Even though the water is a little bit cooler than it's been, there's still a lot of moss and algae and weed growth in here. Maybe not on the surface, but right below that, there's quite a bit in here. So we'll see what we find, but just anything with lots of vibrations, that's what we're going to use today. Let's see what we can do. Starting with that guy, just the Z-Man chatterbait. I think it's like a 3/8 ounce bait. I mean, this thing, if the fish are into it here at this place specifically, it can be an absolute crazy time on the water. I mean, it can be 20, 30 fish days easily. So we'll see what happens today. The goal is to catch a couple fish. You know, like 4 or 5 would be really cool. Anything over that would be just bonus. So hopefully that cold water hasn't shut these fish completely off. I don't think it will, but you just don't know. There's one. Ooh, that feels like a good little fish there. Can't tell if he's got some weeds with him or what. First one on, baby, with the old chatter. It's about a 2-pounder. Yeah, probably 2-pounder or so. That's insane. That's insane. A little bit of a slower bite there. The fish is actually a little chilly. The shock and temperature is probably not the best for these things, but the fact that the temperatures are coming down some is really good for that fall bite. Another awesome fish there. Very cool. Back in. I love fishing so much. It's definitely my favorite pastime. And there you have it. We got us our first fish. Chatterbait strikes again. Such a good bait. That blade on the front's perfect for a place like this where it can kind of cut through those weeds. And if you get a big glob of weeds, you just yank on the bait super hard and it'll kind of cut through them even more. So you don't have to pull the weeds off as bad as if you were throwing a lipless crankbait or just any kind of swim bait or anything like that. This just gets through there much easier. That's a good fish. I hit it hard. I thought I had a log at first. Not the case. Oh my goodness. That's a big, that is a jumbo. That might be a 4-pounder. Barely hooked. Barely hooked. Come on, stay on, stay on. Holy cow. That might actually be a 4-pounder. Look at that, just barely in there. I don't know what the deal is with these things. I'd say the bite is on though. Come on, don't be dead. Okay, she's alive. No! It says low, come on, turn on for me. I gotta be honest with you, these Rapala scales are probably the most disappointing thing I've ever had. If it's low, I mean, come on, it should still work, right? Guess not. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in those scales in general. They're always dead. Like, always. Like, I don't know if they're working when they're dead, and so it's draining the battery, or there's some kind of leak or something, but that's a hog of a fish. I'm gonna turn around so you guys can see it a little better in the sun. Well, I'm gonna say it's about a 4-pounder. It's an absolute unit of a fish. I mean, it's a big fish, probably 18 inches or so. A minimum of like high 3s. It's one of the better ones for out here for sure. Well, last look at her, guys. Well, guys, we're a couple fish in now, and while we may not be catching a ton of numbers, we are certainly getting the correct size. First one was like 2, that one was, I want to say easily 4, but I know I'll get flamed in the comments. I have a scale, but it's just not working. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to say around 4. I think it was easily 4, but you keyboard warriors, let me know what you think, because I think it was. That's a quality fish right there. So back to the grind we go. Hopefully we catch some more. Regardless, I mean, this is an insane start. Let's go. Another really nice thing about the Chatterbait is it's just an overall quality bait, especially the Z-Man product. You don't have to change soft plastics a lot. You don't have to worry about any of the hooks breaking because it's a pretty meaty hook. But like I said, if you've never tried one, you really need to try one, especially in some of these waters in the spring and fall bite where things are pretty aggressive. It doesn't get any better. Hooked up again, and by how hard he's pulling, I think we may have another quality fish here. Holy cow, that is an awesome fish. That is an awesome bass. Look at the rod bend. Holy cow. Come on, stay on for me, big girl. What a good fish. Look at the size of these guys. I was really hoping not to float into this spot yet, but took a second to get that hook out. But dang, what a stud muffin. Such a nice fish. Doesn't get any better. I sure do love bass fishing, and these things make it even more enjoyable. Catching fish is definitely not what it's all about, but when you're on a good bite like today, wow. I'm almost at a loss for words. Too cool. Oh, that was insane. Right there at the last second. Followed me all the way in. Holy cow. What a bite. Haha. What a bite. Little guy. From the flats. There we go. First one out of this section. Pretty neat. Haha. What a cool fish bite there. I mean, I was all the way up at the rod tip there, and that's just so important to kind of recognize that you got to reel all the way in. Don't short it at all. Bring it all the way in. Kind of grab that soft plastic in the back. I think I can still get a few more fish out of it, but we'll see. I know it's impossible to see, but there is a deer on the other side working on the back side of that green moss way over there in the reeds. You'll never be able to see it on the GoPro, but it is incredible to come out here and just be able to watch nature. In the fall time, I've sat out here a few times and watched for deer, and you just don't really see many deer. I don't know if they move around a little bit because it gets kind of thin over here. There's not a lot of woods. It's more like grassland, and there's some better cover spots just south of here. So maybe they move into there, but during the summer and spring and even a little bit in the early fall, you'll still see some cool deer movement. You may be able to see that deer now, straight in front of me, right in the wide open. All right, guys, we have worked one side of the lake pretty hard now, and we've caught a couple. As you've seen, we caught two really awesome ones and then one okay one. Not too bad. Either way, 3 is insanely cool right now. We're gonna keep fishing, hopefully find some more, but I wasn't sure how the fishing was gonna be today. Sometimes it can be really good, sometimes it can be really bad, and really this place can be almost any variation between. But I'm thankful to be catching some with the amount of rain we've had, the amount of temperature drops we've had up and down. The water is a little muddy in the middle, but on the edges it's a little transparent, I guess, like you can see through it a little bit. So it's kind of hard to figure this place out right now. We're just working this chatterbait pretty hard through here, and we have had some luck, which is pretty neat. But we're gonna keep fishing, hopefully find some more. All this submerged timber in here, I know there's bass hiding down deep and, you know, just everywhere. So there's a lot of fish in here. We've got a few more spots to try. Hopefully we find some more before we head out for the day. But as you can tell, I apologize for the wind noise. It is picking up. So let's get back in there and rip some lips before the wind gets any worse today. Oh, we got one. Hallelujah. Come on, stay on for me. I've never been so excited to catch a little bass in my life. We have been grinding. It's been about an hour since I caught the last one. And this is probably the smallest of the day. 13 inches or so. Not a huge, big, it's just not a big fish, but we will take it. Very excited to have caught one. Because like I said, it has been a second. There you go. It's a colder fish, so I think that's just reiterating that some of this weather changing is starting to affect the fish a little bit, which it's just one of those times where it's a little slow for a little bit, but it'll pick right back up. It's not like we're in pre-winter bite or anything like that. But it feels amazing to have caught another one. And we're hooked up again. And this is a better one. Holy smokes. Holy cow. Come on, stay on for me. And we're back into the monsters. This place is getting ridiculously good. Every year these fish continue to grow and grow and grow. I mean, look at this hog. That's a 2 plus, low 2s, mid 2, something like that. I mean, just a thick fish. I mean, it doesn't have a huge belly on it, but just it's thick. So, really, really quality fish there. That's awesome. 2 out of the same hole. Heck yeah. Maybe we've been messing around looking for these fish when really they were just in that first spot all along. Wow, I must have sat it right on his head. Way out there. Holy smokes. Good fish here. Dang. I'm trying to turn the boat so we're in the wind a little better. But he's gonna turn me. I think we're on a log. Okay, stay on for me there, big guy. Oh no! I did get a nice look at it. I'm gonna say high 3s. Gosh dang it. You and you 2 logs right there. You screwed me up. Dang it. Hopefully I don't dump on this thing, but darn it. That was a good one. There are some hogs in this lake. Absolute hogs. I know it's windy, but another thing I've found is pretty successful is when it's windy, it's always best to throw some moving baits. There's one. Anytime that it's really windy, they seem to like the imitation of some kind of bait fish. This is not a big one, but it is another fish. They seem to be sitting out here on this point, or hump, or whatever you want to call it. Another one down. If only you guys, I mean, I'll try my best to show you, but look at this. Fluke is just ripped up, shredded up. I've had some good fish bite this thing today. May have to replace that soft plastic soon, but I really like these flukes because you only have to replace them about 1/5 of the time you have to replace a normal soft plastic if you're swimming just a swim bait or just a fluke by itself. But the combination together is pretty deadly. Oh, wow. I thought I had a weed. Thought it was a weed. This seems to always be a common theme when I'm out here, is I'll fish for hours and hours, and then it seems like the last place you look, that's where the mother lode's hiding. I've been fishing for 2 hours, and I've caught the same amount in 3 minutes here that I have in the 2 hours I've been here. Unbelievable. Got him. Nice. Good 2-pounder. This is insane. Maybe high 1-pounders, but still really good fish here. A little bit skinnier, but a nice long one. There you go. Holy cow, see how sharp teeth. Look at that little fin sticking out a little extra there. Neat. Wow, he had really sharp teeth. Kind of got to readjust after every single cast or two. I wish I had a better way to anchor to these 2 stumps here, but I know exactly my angle I want to cast at and where I'm trying to head with it. So I'm just trying to post up here, get a couple casts in, then reset every time. It is frustrating, but when you're catching fish, so what? Holy cow, he's getting bigger. Took a second for him to start fighting back. I don't know what happened there. That was kind of interesting. Wow. I heard this old saying one time that 90% of the fish live in 10% of the lake. And if that today isn't shown to be the most true thing, I don't know what is. Like I said, I've fished 90% of the lake, and this is the only spot I'm finding them at. Yeah, here's a fluke, absolutely shredded. Got a few more in my bag. We're just gonna replace that guy, get a new one, and then we'll be back in business. Could have caught a few more on that, but it was starting to swim a little different, so no big deal. When I'm kayak fishing, I take one tray, and that's usually plenty. I have a couple smaller ones, like I've got one really small one that just has some finesse hooks in it if I decide to go finesse. But for the most part, if I'm in my boat, I've got one bag with me, unless I'm doing something specific, then I'll take a few extra things. But I used to pack very heavy every time I went fishing, and as time's gone on, I've kind of realized, like, you don't need to do that because you're not throwing 90% of that stuff ever. So if I'm out here kayak fishing, I take one or two of everything in one single tray, and then when I get back, if I've lost some or I need to change up my tactics or whatever, I can just switch it out at home. I've got hundreds of lures at home, but there's really no need to carry that much. So save my back, save the space in the kayak. Everything's just better when you carry light. Back to fishing. We're gonna try to get a few more and then maybe call it. I think there's probably a couple more out there. We've had such good luck, and it's only been like 10 or 15 minutes in this spot, and we're catching them. Got a new fluke on the back of this that's gonna swim really nice. I definitely need to get a new skirt for this bait. The skirt's lost quite a bit of it, just from these bass yanking on it and pulling some of those little fins off. Okay, I think we got a nice amount of fish out of there. Slowed down a little bit. We did have 2 more bites, but just wasn't able to connect with those. So we're gonna move on. We've got just a couple hundred yards left of fishing, and we'll probably head out of here. The wind's picked up some. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but still a little early. So I think in the next hour or two, it's gonna pick up rapidly, and it might not be the worst thing ever to get off the lake before it gets bad, before it gets any worse. I think that's it. That's what we're gonna call her. That was fun. Good time out here. The wind is picking up quickly. It's not horrible on this side of the lake, but as it crests over this, it just gets worse and worse the farther back into the lake you go. So really hope you guys enjoyed that video. It's just so fun to be out here right now. It's early August Saturday today, and it's beautiful. The fishing is incredible. It just feels so good to be in the kayak. The winds feel nice, the temperatures are nice. Fishing wasn't terrible, so everything was a really, really good day out here. We're hoping that as fall continues on and the temperatures drop even more, the fishing gets a little bit better before shutting off. I just want to be able to have some good times out here, enjoy that fall bite, and then before you know it, hunting season will be here. Hunting season starts in Indiana about September 1st for most species, or a good amount of them, and then really, really gets hot and heavy in October. So we're gonna enjoy this last little bit of fishing season before we go on to hunting. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. We will catch you on the next windy fishing adventure out of the kayak. Peace, y'all.